Good morning, everyone. How we doing? Quite the move up that we had yesterday on individuals and then Qs for the first time in a long time. We did not get a substantial move up. And we are right back into yesterday's range. We'll go ahead and mark out our previous day's range. Not that it's very significant. I'll get the alert for going live out here. Made sure that I double check the mic was working. So we're all set there. All right. Okay, so first thing that we're going to take a look at, I think I got my screen up here. Yes, I do. Awesome. First thing that we're going to take a look at is going to be previous day's 50. And then we'll go ahead and draw in our London range as well. London range is lined up right with yesterday's high, which is kind of nice. Just about with yesterday's high. It's off by a cent or two. Our high day from yesterday was 625.87, and our pre-market high 625.88. So we actually exceeded yesterday's high. The inside bar stat will not play out for today since we already had a move over previous day's high. And then for our gap fill, more than likely going to fill it. We've had 3 consecutive days now. Oh, there we go. Choose sessions on there now. We've had 3 consecutive days where price has been within that first to third bracket. I do miss the days where it was 0.7 to 1% gaps that were pretty easy to play the half fill, or even looking at this stat, gap down, 33% chance to fill it. Decent long shot opportunity. Good morning, everyone. Patrick, Phil, Quanis, how you doing? Sasso, how you doing? All right, and then for our previous day's 50, or what I'd be looking for today, a little retracement down to previous day's 50 maybe. So have price come down a little bit more and go up to London 50, vice versa on that. We do have 25 minutes to open, so this will change depending on where we do open. Move back up to London 50, back down to previous day's 50. So quite a few things that I'd be looking for in terms of rejections, retracements. Everything else, individuals, all about the same. Not that exciting of a move. We did have a pretty substantial move up on all individuals yesterday, excluding NVDA, which is, I'm assuming, the main reason Qs did really nothing exciting. And for the most part, the moves on individuals from yesterday was pretty much off of Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a nice little squeeze up to 94,000, and that took semi-Bitcoin related names with it. I'm saying semi because Tesla does have some Bitcoin holdings. MSTR, obviously, just Bitcoin there. And then our beloved bull, all the way back at 1025 as of yesterday's close, which is very nice to see. For anyone new to the stream, or not new to the stream, I'm the one that's new to the stream. I'm Mr. Zinc. I am new to broadcasting on here. So if you guys enjoy it, drop a like, drop a comment, say hello in the chat. Ask any questions you may have. I will happily answer them. I will be streaming on here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 to 11. And that will just be futures trading. I also do option selling with some edgeful data, but we haven't had opportunities to sell into because I've already been deployed on most of my positions. So referring to bull, MSTR, TSLA, also have HIMs open. These ones are slowly developing. Once we get up to where most of these boxes are, that's when I'll sell them and start opening some more positions. Good morning, Phil. What are the indicators I'm using? I don't actually. So the only indicator that I have is the initial bounce indicator. That's it. So it is this. It comes with edgeful. It's edgeful initial bounce breakout, and it just shows you the standard deviations, and it marks out the first hourly opens high, low, and then the midpoint. And I like take my entries at 50% of the IB. But that's it for indicators. I don't have anything else. I do have volume on, but those are the only two. My chart's pretty bare. Yeah, not really too much exciting. SPY and Qs are in the same boat right now. Gold also had no movement last night. It's opening within yesterday's range. So this one might be a little bit better to go and take the lower high. We'll go ahead and mark out that previous day's range on gold. So there is our inside bar stat on gold. I believe that one has a slightly higher chance than Q's. Let's see. I think it's like 78%, 80% now since we broke yesterday. So it's at 5 days in a row that we broke out of the previous day's range. 12-2, 12-3, 12-4, 12-8, 12-9. Well, not quite 5 days in a row. For last Friday, didn't open within that range. And gold been tough to trade at night, straight chop. It has. I had a trade last night. Tradeify. Inverse my mistake from yesterday. I had a long last night off of 25,650. And that was just because it was a reversal pattern on the reversal candle on the 15-minute. Not really anything super complex on that. 25,650, kind of a psych level, is 50.1. It was 1 NQ long. I know, it was a lot more than M NQ. 1 NQ long, I was in it for an hour and 48 minutes to get a 29-point move, just about 30-point move. I could have held it a lot longer. It would have hit my full TP, which was... My full TP was at the high from Asia Open last night, or Globex Open. Hit it at 11:45. I was well asleep, and then had a pretty nice rejection there. So decent level. I forget who asked yesterday if there was any significant reports that I use for Asia session. It's not a report from edgeful, but what I have noticed is that the opening range on the 15-minute, I guess this just goes along with the opening range breakout on most things. The opening range on the 15-minute typically offers some significant levels or price targets to have during Asia session, mainly Globex. So whatever that 6 p.m. open is, the wick high or wick low, if you sweep that, you typically have a nasty little fall or pivot or chop, whatever it might be. And then after price prints a reversal, that's the price target that I've been assigning for any trades I enter. And that's the same one that I had for, what trade was it? I think I had one Thursday or Friday. Maybe right here. No, that's 9 in the morning. This was a good one on a Sunday as well. So put in a wick high, never swept it after we put in a reversal. So this is the one I actually had on Sunday. After we put in a reversal, then that was the price target, that little wick high. Not anything that significant. Definitely enjoying sizing up into Asia session though, because it's pretty much the same setup. The chop isn't as bad. If you're going to chop, it's going to be 2 to 4 point candles, so it's affordable. And then the stop losses, everything just moves slower, so it's easier to practice sizing up during Asia session, as long as it's not too risky. Can your QQQ London 50 be charted on NQ? You could. I've always had a small issue with this because I think TradingView charts. Good morning, Abe. I think TradingView charts from 1 to 4 as the 4 a.m. candle. So if we go over to MNQ, the move from 1 o'clock this morning. So this candle right here, I know it kind of blends in. That's not very good. I'll get the vertical line in there. So this candle to 4 a.m., that entire range is this one opening candle on Qs. So if you want to chart the London 50 on QQQ, all you do is from 4 a.m. to 9:30 open. If you want to do it on MNQ or NQ, you have to include all the way to 1 a.m. in the morning. Why did I change from MNQ to NQ? Not that I'm changing from MNQ to NQ. The reason that I used NQ last night is because I am practicing sizing up, but I'm doing it at or during Asia session. And the main reason I'm doing it during Asia session is if we go and take a look at the moves that we get. First off, London session, I'm not going to be awake for. I'm not going to wake up at 3 in the morning to make these trades. So London session off the table right there. For New York session, New York is incredibly choppy, and the moves that we have are a lot more significant even with the chop. So if we take a look at what we did yesterday, this is our hourly open from yesterday with the initial balance breakout. These wicks, it is still chopping, but these are 50-point wicks, which way too much to get stopped out on an NQ contract. So I'm practicing the same method, same stop losses, just doing it during Asia session or Glopex. Because Glopex is from 6 to 8, Asia starts at 8. But during New York, I'm still going to be trading the same 2M and Q size. TSL look good for cash geared puts? Absolutely, yes. If it has any more pullback than where it is right now, remember we have the 1950s open on this with 1950 covered calls open. So I do not want to open an additional position, not get assigned on the open TSL shares, and then be doubled down for no reason. So we're going to wait until probably tomorrow, maybe even Friday morning, see where we stand on TSL shares. The closer it is to 1950, the more, I don't know what I'm going for there. Closer is the 1950, the more likely I am to probably open next week cash geared puts. But if it's sitting where it is right now, then we'll play it by ear. We'll play it all the way until Friday. All right. Nothing, not really anything different for today. We'll cover in terms of data. That is, for data today, nothing has changed on CME FedWatch. We had news at 8:30. Didn't really affect us all that much. We just inverse the move that we made at 8:15. We do have FOMC at 2, and then Powell speaks at 2:30. FOMC days and I don't get along. We're not the best of friends. So any setups that we have today, we'll probably do 1 to 2 MNQ. Along with that, if price is going to be the same as it was yesterday, same as it was on Monday. Monday was really clean in terms of the initial balance break. Yesterday was pretty clean with the initial balance break as well. We just never got an entry, unfortunately. Today is Powell's last FOMC. I'm like 99% certain that he's not coming back during the January one or February one. This is the end of his term. If we go to CME FedWatch, should still be sitting at 90%, maybe even higher. 89.9% chance. We have a basically 90-10 split on getting a rate cut versus not getting a rate cut. So if you want to take the underdog here, 10% chance that we get no rate cut, we get a pause, 90% chance that we do get a rate cut at 2 o'clock today. This has already been priced in. So this has been at 90% for about the past 2 weeks, which is probably why we've had just a nasty chop to the upside. It's getting bought up. The only thing that's going to skew the move that we have for today is the tone of Powell. So if he comes out and says the data wasn't enough, or comes out and says it's not looking that good for January or February for the next rate cut, depending on his tone, hawkish or dovish, that will give us our move. This is already priced in the rate cut that we should get today, 90% chance that we do. That should already be priced in. So I don't really think that we're going to have that much of move off of the 2 p.m. FOMC, but I do think that Powell is going to offer a pretty nice yield. More than likely going to be locked out beforehand, though. Okay, MSTR. This is the zone that we have to get over, which we rejected 50% of. And this just further goes to show how powerful 50% is for any range that you have. This is a small little supply-demand zone with a 50% drawn in. That's what we rejected off yesterday on MSTR. We need to get through 198, and then we can pretty easily push all the way back up to, honestly, 450, 600. It's dependent on what Bitcoin wants to do. Bitcoin needs to get through the same level. This little supply-demand zone right here. It actually has 2 of them stacked up. And then there's another one right there that goes to right there. So we have 2 supply-demand zones stacked on top of each other. This is a pretty big level zone, block, whatever you want to call it. It's a pretty big zone to get through. We need to get back over 98 and then smooth sailing from there on Bitcoin for a little bit. And then we haven't taken a look at this for a while, so I'm not sure what it's going to be sitting at. My guess is probably still going to be in fear. Fear greed index is sitting at 32 fear. And we did get a very nice launch off of that November 20th extreme fear level at 5 and then 6 on the following day. Go to the 24-hour chart. That was this small moment of despair the market was in with a 4% drop. And then we immediately got bought back up, and we are currently $13 away from all-time highs. Not bad at all. That's on Q's. SPY is probably a little bit closer. But I don't care as much to go and look at that. Yeah, no problem, Mitch. Could trade gold. Gold's been a little tricky just because the wicks have been just as bad on this as they have been on Q's, if not a little bit worse, honestly. It did make the move we were looking for yesterday. It just happened to wick us out before doing it. For today, we have the same inside bar stat, and it is an 80% chance. This is 6 months. Let's go a little bit further out on this. 67% over 3 years. So decent chance, 1 in 3 chance that it stays within this range. Over the past 6 months, it looks like it's more likely to break out. And then Q's, I believe, is already wicked out of that inside bar by one penny. Let's see, what does edgeful have here? Inside bars, potential inside bar status within yesterday's range. It hasn't opened within yesterday's range, though, since we did break it. 625.88 was our pre-market high, and then yesterday's high was 625.87. So that is off the table for today. That stat did play out perfectly yesterday. There's our previous day's range right there. We ended up breaking it to the downside and then having a really strong sweep back up off of that. So we can look for something similar today if we do happen to go and sweep the high again. My guess for movement, probably going to stay within this zone all the way until 2:30. Because our volume has also been abysmal. We had 37.16 million volume yesterday. Average 30-day volume on Qs is 60 million, so barely over half. And that is direct outcome of having 50% of the average volume. You have no movement. This goes back to what we were covering for the initial bounce as well. If we see where that half standard deviation was yesterday, we barely missed it. It was at 625.92. We hit 625.87. Missed it by 5 cents. Price did absolutely nothing after breaking the initial balance, though. And that's what I really want to hammer in for anyone that trades New York session. Asia session, you can get away with not as scripted movement. I'm not sure if that makes sense to say, but all I mean by that is the moves, they're a lot smoother because there's not as much manipulation. So it's not as like a scripted move where you have a scene and price. This is a pretty bad analogy, but it's almost like they were like, yeah, let's put a 50-point wick in, and then we're just gonna have a program go up to X level, do absolutely nothing until close, which we didn't even have a move into close. We usually have a 4 p.m. spike or a little pivot. That wasn't there yesterday either. After that 11 o'clock candles formed, I've noticed that price does nothing afterwards. And that's because you have such a slim chance of going and hitting half standard deviation up or down or 1 or 2 or 3 even. There's only been a handful of times I've seen 3 standard deviation get hit. What's going on, Sam? Good morning. Jeff, JK, Patrick, Rach, Slayer, good morning. Signoy, Terrence, Waldive, Zaza. Which time frame am I on? I am on the 15-minute. 15 minutes pretty much all I use. If you want the time frame, it is up here in the top left, just below the tab window. You can see which one they might be on. I'm on the 15-minute right now. I pretty much just hop between the 15-minute and the 24-hour. That's about it. Go ahead and get rid of that half standard deviation. First time live trading with you. Followed you on X. May I ask why you live trade for free? This is just with edgeful data. I do this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 to 11. And then the rest of the entire other time I'm in my community. But this is just with edgeful data. Streaming with them. With their product. This has significantly helped me, significantly improved my trading, especially with futures because it goes really well with taking $200, $300, $400 profit days and consistently piling them up or compounding them. And that I pretty much just do with the initial balance range or initial balance breakout. Initial balance range. Holy word soup there. That was rough. What is this question? Oh, I see there. I see then which pair. This one, my brother. What? There's an event news now at 4:45. What time frame is that? How to draw this level? Draw one more time, please. So for London 50 and previous days 50, previous day's 50s, any high or low formed between 4 and that 8 p.m. close, 4 a.m. in the morning, and the 8 p.m. close EST. And then London 50, same thing, any high or low, but it's between 4 a.m. and 9:30 open. And then I use the weak magnet to make sure that I get the exact levels. There's our London range right there. And our previous day's 50 right there. How you doing? I have no indication of what we're going to do at open. So we're slightly gapped down. We're still within that first bracket for the gap filled by size. So we might... actually, we just went to the second one. We have a 62% chance of filling this gap today. So it is slightly favored. If we pivot by 0.1% and get into the 0.19, it increases the 68% chance. I'd like to see... I mean, right now we're smack dab in the middle of every level that there could be. It's either going to hit London 50 first or previous day's 50. I don't have any indication of which way we're going to go, though. So I'm obviously not going to be trading anything right now. It is an FOMC day. Keep that in mind, Wall Dive. And these days are rough. Very rough for price action. The gap that we have right now is 0.19. It's the current gap down. $1.20 on Qs. So we just went into that first bracket now, Wall Dive. It is now a 68% chance that we fill the entire thing, which would be a move up to 625.11. So it is favored that we have a recovery. Now it's back to 0.2. Still favored, 62% as opposed to 68. Not going to be taking a trade right off the bat. If we get London 50 or previous day's 50, we'll see how it reacts there. I'm not a fan of taking it between both levels. I usually want to see price above one or the other, or even above both. Now, if we had opened, let's say we had opened at like 623.13 or 622, gone down a little bit, and then retested previous day's 50, I'd expect that to continue down. As of right now, just expecting a little bounce and then rejection, bounce, rejection. This is also only 80 cents between London 50 and previous day's 50. It's not really that big of a reward to trade. And now gold, on the other hand, which I don't really want to touch for today, for an FOMC day, but this one should go and take out yesterday's range, high or low, like it did on Tuesday, yesterday, for Monday's range, since we opened within that. Tesla's looking all right. Not bad there. If 9:30 to 10 closed bearish, what's the probability of the day being bearish? If the first 30-minute candle opens green or red, we'll get that opening candle continuation report. That one is looking at 72% chance for a green day. If that candle's green, 66% chance for a red day if the candle's red. That's the first 30-minute candle. We could get a sweep of London low right now and then pop back up. It's only a 50-cent opening candle to start. Let's see what Frenchie's looking for. Oh, I didn't even see you put something out at 11 last night. Do you use market session correlation? I do not. I do not, Dom. Oops. Only psych level we have is 25.6. So it's pretty much the same as yesterday's open. And 25.7 to the upside. We're holding previous day's 50 and London low pretty well. See if we get a bounce here. Futures Elite Prime was those accounts. I haven't seen those ones before. Implied move for today. Let's take a look. QQQ implied move. For today, it's December 10th. Well, for tomorrow, our implied move is 0.8 for December 10th. That close, we're looking at a 0.48% implied move for today. I can get a little bit further. There we go. 0.57. So another 0.3% from where we are right now. That's pretty rough for an FOMC rate decision day. Did you capitalize on that drop at all, Waldo? There you go. I didn't have any solid thesis for the opening move. We opened kind of bare on levels, so still just watching it for now. I do like that we're in the New York AM session. We're getting this move down. Could offer some liquidity for FOMC once we do get a rate cut. I can't 100% say that we get one, but being at a 90-10 split, it's pretty likely that we do go and get a single rate cut this afternoon, which will put us down at 350 to 375. $1.74 on the open. 5-minute time frame, we could have taken a rejection off of London low. That would have been nice. But still just chilling here for now. Not anything to take. What I will take, since we are way below some levels now, a retest back up to previous day's 50, and then we can look for some downside. Or if this candle closes up there prior to finishing out, then we can take longs. Well, it's dependent on where this 15-minute closes. What was that website telling you again? Sorry. For the opening candle continuation, if we have the first 30-minute candle close green, we have a 72% chance of closing green on the day. If it closes red, we have a 66% chance of closing red on the day. Now, there will be some increased volatility off of that stat because it is an FOMC day, so keep that in mind. But on the average day, it should read that way. And now we're right back into that range. So we just had a massive sweep of London low back over previous day's 50. Switch that bias to longs now, especially if we go and take 624.19, which looks like we're going to here. Nasty fake out on that. Which way are we YOLOing for FOMC? Yeah, thinking about 75 NQ longs, 15-point stop loss. You know, the usual. Don't tempt me with a good time. Something light. Yep. Just a small position, nothing substantial. If this candle can close over previous day's 50, I might try longs. It has 5 minutes left on it. On the 15-minute time frame. If we can close over 623.44, previous day's 50. What I do like is, yes, for right now, we formed the IB low second, so we'd be targeting the low. Or the high was formed first, and the low formed. Would be targeting the low, but if we go and sweep up, making a nice little hammer candle here, that would be a very nice target for a continuation. First target would be that current IB high, and then we'd be targeting up to London 50, and then London high, and then so on. Or we might go all the way back down to the IB low. It is dependent on where this 15-minute candle closes. Coming back up a little bit. Right back down. All the way back up. Nice. 2 minutes, 50 seconds left on this close, and then we can take, probably going to take a long. I do really like that sweep. Stop loss. We can either do a 1 M&Q position with a 15-minute stop loss, avoid a fake out. or we can just do our typical, probably 1-to-1. Well, it wouldn't quite be 1-to-1. I'd be targeting up to London high since we swept both these levels. It would also be previous day's high. 2 minutes left. London high and previous day's high are in the same spot. Candle's about to go green as well. Our current IB high, 624.21. Looks like that's about to get taken. 5 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute inversion. So we'll get a close right here. This little retest back down and go back up. This candle might not retest though. Pretty strong 15 minute. Did we make a new high yet? Almost. We have a minute left. I'm going to do one. And that high would be up here. I'll do one M and Q. And then we'll slap $100 stop on that. TP, it's a 1 to 2 on this one. Has 50 seconds left. If this candle closes under, then we entered a little premature. Previous day's 50, 623.41. If we close under that level, then we'll get out. And this could also line up with opening candle continuation, but I really want to see a new IB high get taken out. So we're kind of front running it a little bit. Entry is 25,646. We'll go to the initial balance by rejection for Wednesday. Close good. Wednesday, both of them are just below that 8% threshold. So these would both be expecting a win. Hims is going to the moon with FOMC calling it. I just got one M and Q on that Slayer. Just one. Target's going to be London high and previous day's high. And we're going to get the stop moved up relatively fast. If we go and take a new IB high right here, then we should pretty easily have a continuation for the rest of the morning. Nice inversion on the 1 minute. We have another 20 cents to go to take a new IB high. $0.10 to go. Just about there. At 624.17. Very, very close. If this candle, if we have a 5 minute close below previous day's 50, then I'm going to stop out early as well. And go down to the 5 minute time frame. We won't be risking that full pivot down. There we go. New IB high taken. So we are targeting the IB high breakout. We're up 25 points on this right now. Hit London 50. Might have a rejection there. Nice little front run on that position. What cash cleared puts would I get on HIMS? Probably 37s. 37s or 38s for next week. The premium is going to be low because we don't have that much going on in terms of volatility. Still in it right now. It's up 10 points. 2 of them in a queue, we probably would just secure it. London 50 is what we rejected off of. We got to get through that. Pretty small risk on this as well. It's going to be just below 623.42, which will be maybe 10 points to the downside, 16 points. I would, I like the 48s, or not 48s, what am I saying? 38s, even though they're right at the money for next week. Or you can do 37s. Both of those are pretty good for a percent return. Why 37s you get 138. 138 divided by 3,700. 3.7% return on that. So you could even go lower. You could go to the 36s. It's depending on if you want to get signed or not. Still in this trade right now. Just about break even. London 50 kind of hit there a little bit. You might get a sign on the 38s. Oh, that'd be okay. Slightly green. Your mic's on Monopoly. There you go. You got it. Opening candle continuation. We have 9 minutes left on that. That will tell us what direction we should be heading for the rest of the day. Green or red. A lot of waiting. Our average time in the trade has increased substantially. It's kind of funny. I remember when we used to be in and out with 50-point moves in 10 minutes, maybe. Now we're lucky to get 20. All right, back down through previous day's 50 now. If this 5-minute closes underneath, it has 3 minutes left on it, then we'll get out. It's the reason that we took the trade long. Dang, London 50. Data's supporting us having a bounce anyway. Since we formed the IB high, unless we go and take a new IB low, which is all the way down at 621.93. Which could happen. I don't think it's as likely. Oh, yeah, actually might get a new low taken. 2 minutes on this candle. When will be our stay in or stop. Would you have secured that 25 points, Roland? No, it's just a small retracement after yesterday. It's not that bad. I don't mind it. We went long once it passed up previous day's lows and early. I see. It's still in right now. Could add one. I'll actually just wait for the 15 minute has a 5 minute candle left on it, so I'll just wait for that. That will also be the opening candle continuation, so either further confirming upside or inverses it. Your trading's next level. You have like 4 losses in a month. What have you been doing differently? Just securing the green as soon as you see it, or just on your game right now? Thanks to the London 50 and previous days. Or base hits. Nice. Just about at the stop loss. And stopped out of that. So if we go and take a new IB low now, and then we'd switch back to targeting the IB low for the break. Initial bounce by rejection on the break lower. That's if the high forms first. We'd have to go and take out a new low. Try my model YOLO and pray. 1 and 2 MNQ is a game changer. It is. It very much is. If we can wick all the way back up, I'll get back in. Just got us out at just below 600. Oh, that would be mean if it did come back up. It'd be the same as the gold trade from yesterday. Minute 50 left on that opening candle continuation. Oh, that was a mean stop. Five-minute held. Still made the IB low first. For that opening candle, we're going to go in the 30-minute here. As 9 seconds, ideally, we'd want it at 623.84. But that just closed red, so it means that we have a 2 and 3 chance of staying red for today. And that candle just opened below our previous day's 50, so no reentry there. If I had taken it on 2 mid Q, I think I probably would have secured the 100. So I guess it would have made sense to have secured the 50. But then we're not letting the trade develop to that high that we were looking for. The only other report that I would have is maybe looking at gold for that breakout of the inside bar. That's about it. Or under previous day's 50, you might go and take a new low in the IB. We'll see. For gold, we can take a look at SPY too. Nothing on SPY. Chart's about looking the same. I could have saved $50 if I had secured as soon as that candle closed. If you thought yesterday's IB was small, we were at 75% of that size, maybe even 2/3. Our IB for today, 621.90 to 624.40, and that correlates to. Let's go and get our rectangle out here. That correlates over to 110 points again. 105 actually. So it'll be, at best, we get a 50-point move off the IB. Gold is so choppy today. Have you seen NQ? Gold is pretty bad. So again, if this candle, we have 12 minutes on this one, I'll be a little more inclined to take the initial balance breakout. If this candle closes pretty much right where it is right now, then we'll take 2M and Q. Stop loss will be IB low. Take profit will be IB high. And it'll only be a 50-point move, and that will be our play for the day. We'll follow that up with looking at the initial bounce continuation. So that's the buy levels. We need to form the initial bounce first, and then that will pop up on the indicator. That was a pretty unlucky stop. I agree. It's back up to just about where we entered. Sitting right where we entered. I paper my $700 and lost it. I was going for an even 1,000. Sorry about that. Longs are looking great, but I'm locked out. I agree. A little disappointed that we got stopped where we did. Exceeded the stop by 10 points. It's okay. I do want to re-enter right now. I'll wait for the 5-minute to close. I'll usually wait for the 15-minute. I probably should. I'll give it another 8. It's only another 3 minutes after that one closes. And then our target should pretty easily be up to the IB high. You re-entered. Barely got us out. Another $20. I'd like it to be as close as possible to 50% of the IB. We usually don't go and take a new low or high on the 1030 move, just from experience. We form the IB low first and then the IB high. That's why I'm bullish. IB low formed first, and then you have a higher chance of going targeting the high for a break. I do not. It's not favored on the data. I gotcha. I have 5 minutes on this candle to close, and then I'll look for a re-entry if it closes over that 50. It's hanging on to it for dear life. Gold almost went and took its low. Very, very close. How do you know for sure the IB low is formed first when the IB is still forming? You use it on an hourly or 1 hour IB. So it's the first hour open. I'm just reading it as it's currently presented. So right now we have the low form first at 621.92, and we have the high form second, 624.46. And based on my experience, we don't usually go and take a new low or high. Now, given how tight the range is, we definitely can. And if we go and take a new low, then that completely switches up what we'd be looking for. As it stands right now, we'd be targeting a move up to the high, and then we use other levels like previous days 50 or London low as additional confluence. But you're exactly right. It could go and take a new low. If it goes down to 621.92, that's a new low formed. That's within the next 19 minutes because the IB closes at 10:30. That's 19 minutes. It could go and take a new low. Could also go and take a new high. I'd like to see it bounce off of these levels, London low and previous days 50, mainly because of the sweep that we had on the opening candle. But we definitely could pivot our direction, pivot what we're anticipating. But as it stands right now, we'd be targeting the high. We also we could go off the screener as well. Screener is almost perfectly neutral, 19%, 14%, bearish and bullish. About 4 Qs for the initial bounce break. It says bullish right now for a bias. This is on SPY as well. SPY and Q say bullish for the bias. Probably slightly. What level is London low? London low is sitting at 623.16. It's pretty much right where 50% of the IB is. It is a bit of a mess at the moment. I think it's going to chop around 25.690 till FOMC. Would that be the IB high? If so, that'd be nice. 25.674 is where the IB high is. Two minutes left on this candle. Could actually, we wouldn't have been able to re-enter on the 5 minute because it did close below previous day's 50. We want this to re-enter. We either want it right at 50% of the IB or we want it to close over previous day's 50. That's how I trade the initial balance break by rejection. We don't really have anything else. The 30-minute candle closed red, 30-cent red candle, so it would indicate that we would anticipate a red close for today. Gap fill report we haven't filled. We have to go all the way up to 625.09. If it closes under previous day's 50, I probably won't take it. We'll just watch it. $38 seconds. My lord, these candles are small. 11-cent 5-minute candle, 9 cents, 13 cents, 18 cents, 27 cents. I would expect gold probably goes and takes yesterday's low. That'd be a 70-cent drop from where it is right now. Closed underneath previous day's 50, so no re-entry there. Right at 50% of the IB. For context, from Monday till now. From Monday to present, we've had, that's rough, 180-point range for 3 trading days. Yikes. That's 50% of the IB that we just hit. So that would be an ideal entry. 1-to-1 R long or short. We get down to, it's at 617, 25, 617. 15-minute keeps making higher lows. It's also making lower highs, though. And nothing about this price is favorable to trade. That's probably what it's going to be like all day. I hate to break it to you. Nope. Should still be targeting the IB high. There's 12 minutes left on the candle. Here comes the high. I didn't get an entry, unfortunately. So it's squeezing. It is squeezing, yes. That it is. If this 5 minute can close over, would be a little more inclined to take it. But this is playing out as expected. Be a 50-point break. Almost 55. We get a little pullback, then we can go into it. It's only 70 cents that we're playing with, sadly. But this, nothing about this, even though we have the IB that we know should go and take the high, nothing about this is telling me to enter the trade. The only thing that I suppose would work out is taking it right at 50% of the IB and only playing that, disregarding the chop that we're in right now. TP is going to be 25,673. That's the IB high on M and Q, and then the IB low 25,567. 50% is sitting at 25,617. So if we can get an entry right there, that'd probably be the only good one we have. But this more than likely would do more damage than good. I know there's an FOMC report available. I have to review that report. I'm not brave enough to trade FOMC. There's no way it will take the high. It's going down FOMC. Well, this trade will be done long before FOMC. Could be famous last words. I would say to answer your question, Faye, yes, previous day's 50 is that midpoint of yesterday's range. It's 50% of the high and low that we made yesterday. That was a pretty nice retest on the 5 minute. Our previous day's 50, actually a perfect retest of it. I do want to get into a trade for IB high. I don't think I would trade this if I was just trading in general, though. Like if I wanted to take a long off previous day's 50 or London 50 or whatever it might be, this isn't the setup that I would take. I would just sit here and watch. Here comes the IBI, though. It's only 40 cents away. This is one of the smaller ones I think I've ever traded or ever watched. I can't say trade because I'm not in a position. I would like to get in. This is brutal. Range bound and pinned. That we are. This might be the worst that I've seen for price action. I don't think we've had something this bad for a long time. The last one that I recall that price was stuck this bad for the first hour was, I know exactly which day it was. It might have been that October 10th fall. I remember we were stuck right at open for the longest time right here. So we were stuck for an hour, had a break towards the IB low, and then we had news come out and ended up having a 3% drop. It's happened a couple times. Oh, there's another one right there. So last time we had price stuck this bad, October 10th. It was about an hour and a half. News came out. We had a $4 drop, followed by another $3 drop, followed by another $6 drop. These are all 15-minute candles. And then we ended up having a negative 4% red day. I remember that. If we can get down a little bit more, I think I'll probably take it, because then we have a solid boundary for that initial bounce. Reward's only going to be 30 points, so it's not. I probably won't take anything again. Just another chip. If we can get right to 623.19, then maybe. Maybe. Why don't you trust the data and take the trade off the mid level? So I just said if we get to 623.19, I don't want to engage in how bad the chop is, though. I do trust the data. Both of these, the only small issue is both of these are over their average by quite a bit. So this one's over 5% and this one's over by 7%. So it might be overdue a loss. If it's over 8%, that's the data that I found. I'll show you what I mean by this. So the average per day is 75 and 74. Wednesdays, for just today, it's 80% for the high getting taken. So the only thing that might indicate is that we're due a loss to have a reversion down to the mean at 75%. Usually it's just over 80 or 8%, not 80. So if this was reading like 83, then that would definitely be due a loss. I do trust the data. I do not trust the chop, especially on an FOMC day. That's something to keep in mind for sure, since people are being extra cautious today. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being extra cautious. Struggling to get past NQ view up. Oh, that's what Sam just said too. Got rejected at view up again. Struggling to get past anything, quite honestly. 2 minutes left. Reward shaping up to like 50 points now. 50-point risk as well. This looks disgusting. We made low first and high, correct? Yes. That is correct. I made the IB low and then the high. That's why I'm looking for it to go and target the high. Could try it with a 1 MNQ right there. It's 40-ish points. So this would be the position right here, just 1-to-1. Let's see if that plays out. Close over all the levels we wanted as well. Slow as can be. You gonna fall asleep, Abe? I think what we need is everyone to blow on their screen at the same time. Or go and do a rain dance. Something to get the juices flowing. I'm not in this position right now. This is just the one that I would be monitoring. That's what data's favoring. But you don't need to get in a trade, even if it. Like, yes, we're being told right now we should go and take the IB high. We don't need to get in on this mess. We don't need to participate. It's fine to just sit here and watch. It was the trade that I got in earlier. That one was a little bit more favorable because it was developed earlier in the morning, so there was plenty of what if. The one that we're watching right now, not really anything that we could possibly take on the position or even look at. Looks like it's going to go take the IB low, so it's going to go against the data. Opening 60-minute candle is red, so two strong reports are conflicting today. Exactly. I think that's another reason I didn't want to enter a 30-minute candle continuation. Opening candle opened red. You just said the hourly one opened red. Hourly hasn't closed quite yet. Unless it's this 9 a.m. candle. 30-minute one, though, is red, so we'd expect a red close for today. And another reason, simple as just going on edgeful screener. Christmas tree. That's what I was talking about yesterday. And that's one of the main things that Andre told me. The more Christmas tree this looks, just don't do anything. There's no need to be in a position. It looks like we're going to go and take the IB low. What we could do is take a long with like a 3-point stop loss on it. IB low is at 25. It would be like a 4-point stop since we're 10 cents away. But we're more than likely going to go and take that now. I don't think we'll reverse all the way back up. Did you get your short to play out? Well, dive. All the reports on here are conflicting each other right now. Yeah. Yep. There you go. I would be interested in trying a long right now. Have quite literally a 7-point stop on it. And then just play, see if we go all the way up and pivot and hit the IB high. I think that wouldn't be a bad move. Everything is pointing one way. These reports are pointing another way. This is pointing another way. Opening candle continuation, bearish red, bullish green, bearish red, bullish green. Gold hasn't moved for 5 hours. Yep. Congratulations. If you got a short at 386.01 at 4 a.m. this morning, you are still at break even on your trade. I want to take it. The only small issue that I have here is if this trade's under 10 seconds, it's going to be a small violation for Tradeify since the trades have to be over 10 seconds. Like if we enter now with my luck, it would immediately wicked down to 25,567. It was. I mean, it's moved up like 8 points. What a reward. So it could, I mean, the IB hasn't broken yet. It very well could go all the way back up to the top. SPY has the same outline as well. SPY has, where's ES? 64%, 66%. These ones are about in line with the average. Went long with one MQ, scalped quick 30. There you go. I could have secured the 50 on that first trade. It was up 25 points, which if it was in 2 MQ. So what do we do about today? We just had an 80% stat go and hit the 20% win. IB has broken. What typically happens on days like this, and this isn't something from data, this is just from experience, especially with it being an FOMC day, I would put money on us having a double break, especially with how small the range is now. Something to add in, we go to the standard deviation. So our next price target would be 620.68 since we broke the IB low. We go over to QQQ. This could also line up. This one was 5% over, so it could have been due a loss on a Wednesday. Something to take a look at. Well, not trying to validate why it went and hit a 20% stat, just spitballing here. So for the IB by levels, we have for breakdown day, so we broke to the downside, breakdown. See our stats here. We have an 80% chance of going to half a standard deviation, and a 1 standard deviation has a 60% chance, and then it kind of drops off after that. But I would put money on this having a double break today. I would not be surprised at all. No trade, though. No trade on the IB. I'll pull up the... This is a mess. I think the saddest part, too, is that wick at 9.55 that stopped us out only missed it by 10 points, and then we would have been up $100 right there at 624.08. Or no, sorry, not 150 again. Not really anything we can do about that for today. We aren't talking about the chart. No, it's bad. It's bad. SPY hasn't taken its IB yet. This one could still play out. It's wicking all the way back over. Q's just took it by 2 cents. IB low was 621.92. Q's just hit 621.86. 6 cents, sorry, 2 cents. That's just my 2 cents on it. There you go. SPY is still favored to go and break the upside, yes. SPY has, that's the buy levels one, hold on. 64% chance SPY goes and takes the high. Which honestly, if SPY goes and takes the high, that's going to drive Q's up to take a double break and go and break the high. We might get a double break before 11. That would be funny. We're back over 25.6 as well. I wouldn't say the data was the issue today. It's just the chop. There's no reason to get into a trade when the market's doing this. If you didn't know what this also correlates to, when the market is just sideways, no movement up, no movement down, this is pretty much all retail traders right now. Very few traders are going to be looking at this price action going, yeah, this is something that I do want to participate in. Big money's not going to be making any moves right now. What big money will be doing is they will be sitting on the sideline and just watching the chop get rid of all of retail. Retail traders are getting swept out bad. Yes, they are. First time on the live chat. Awesome. Glad to hear it, Anthony. It's exciting as can be. You too. What'd you end up getting for today, Well Dive? 320 is more than enough. See ya. Don't really want to. No need to take anything right now. We could take it that long on SPY because that would be the same idea, but I'm probably just going to stick with this today. So, hour and 48-minute long last night, followed up with an 11-minute long that ended up taking a loss there. SPY might go and take its high. I really do think we're going to get a double break today. The volume so far, 8 million. I don't know what the average is for the first hour, but I would assume it's a lot more than 8 million. SPY is, well, actually, let's review what it did yesterday. Yesterday, it did go and take its IB high and then went and had a double break. So it's back-to-back double breaks on SPY. Today should go and take 683.44. That's going to drag Qs all the way back up with it as well. And then gold, as I just said, if you had entered a trade at 4 a.m. this morning, you are just now starting to see some profit. Well, you'd still be in the trade. That's the worst part. Apex is still 90% off. I know, but I need the payout from Tradeify before I want to cycle more money in. Almost let it slip from hitting that nasty red day yesterday. but they happen. I still have 2,000 in drawdown, or 1,800 actually, since it trails the 50,100. 1,874, that's more than enough. Here comes the high on SPY. This one is 30 cents away. QQQ was 624.45. The idea for that play would have been to enter like a couple points off the IB low, but that would have gotten swept out anyway. Your stop loss would have been IB low, which let's say you entered at 25,572, you're looking at a 6-point stop, which regardless of what size you go into, that's perfectly fine. Even if you had 5 NQ, that's $300 for 6 points. So probably as good of a risk reward as it would have gotten down there. And the only idea for that concept was because Q's was targeting the high break. But again, I really want to hammer this point in. This is as Christmas tree as can be. Slightly bearish now, 47% bearish, but these are still all the reports on here counteracting each other. No clear direction. The only thing that might play out is SPY breaking its high, which is now 20 cents away. I don't have anything. I don't have any other reports to go and take a look at. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla's IB would be targeting the low break. That would be 443.67. That one also went and missed. Another one we could take a look at. HIMS, I think, just took a nasty tumble, didn't it? 38. All the way down to from 40 again. 1013 on Bull. Very nice to see there. No movement on MSTR. That one would be targeting the low break as well since the high formed first, but there's no wick on that top. So it could come all the way back. Can we look at SoFi? I've been red on it since October, wondering if I should close out for a loss. Let's take a look. SoFi. What's... If you've been in since October, your average isn't that far up there then. You must have it at like 29. This one... I mean, you can see how it moves typically. This was February of this year, so this might be a bad example. But it does consolidate for a very, very long time. This last consolidation period, the one that we had in February, that was November 22nd to pretty much March. So 4 months of consolidation there. Even back here when they IPO'd, you had a year and a half of consolidation. Another 2 years of consolidation right here. And right now we're only at 3 months. So the only thing that you'd be risking is opportunity costs, which is essentially the same thing that we've been dealing with Bull, only Bull's been moving slightly down. Realistically, though, this is consolidation. I'm correlating this one to Hood when they IPO'd, because they consolidated for 3 years and then had that break. Hopefully Bull doesn't have that long of a consolidation period. I don't know. It's hard to say. Right now, it's a pretty tricky period to try and time anything. I mean, the time in the market in general, you're always going to struggle with, but especially for the past 3 months, regardless of what you got in, if you got in Qs, if you got in NVIDIA, Microsoft, anything, you've been flat to red since September. I mean, NVIDIA, if you had bought in July, the last day of July, you're looking at a 0.5% red trade right now. So I wouldn't say that having money in SoFi is the worst position right now. And especially if you've been red on it since October, it hasn't made that significant of a high. So at most, you're going to be down $5 a share if you got the tippy top in October. But more realistically, probably like $2 to $3 in the red. SPY might go and counter its IB trade again, same as Q's. Well, not too much different that we could have done today, I think. I got in long last night with Frenchie, and that was he got in a little after me, but I saw what the vision was. And then the only other thing I could have done was respected that 5-minute stop loss. I mentioned that would have been a $50 red trade instead of 100. Pull up the standard deviation right before we head out for today. Half standard deviation is sitting at 0.5, 620.65 on Qs for reference, and that correlates to about 25. What is that lined up with? 620.65, just below yesterday's low. So that would correlate with about 25, 520, 535 maybe. One point that I would like to add in as well, this is the market right here. So this is New York session. Right there. That's New York session, those two blue lines. Everything outside of that, and I'll actually add it in for today as well. So everything outside of those two blue lines, and I'm talking everything in between there, that is where most of the movement happens. 80% of the movement happens outside of New York session, happens overnight or pre-market or on the weekends with weekend news. We are trading a very kind of small data point, I would add. Most of that move, so of the 80% of market moves that happen outside of trading hours, 20% happens within New York session. Of that 20%, I'd say the vast majority happens within the first 2 hours of market, or even hour and a half. So 9:30 to 11. Everything after that is either retail trading, algo trading, or just no one's trading. You have people that are entering small positions. You have hedge funds that are rotating. That usually happens from 1 o'clock to 4. And then you have the 4 p.m. close where you'll have a significant amount of liquidity come in from people rotating positions into the following trading session. So don't get locked in into trading after 11. It's an FOMC day today. At most, you come back, you trade a little lotto ticket at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:30. You're betting on FOMC going up or down or whatever Powell says. Most of the calculated moves happen 9:30 to 11. That's the main reason that I go and use the initial bounce buy rejection, because it's a very significant data report, or very significant piece of data that we can use. That, hey, we have an 80% chance of breaking this level. We have an 81% chance of breaking this. Even if we just go and average it along all weekdays, we have a 75% chance. I'm beating the data, it's loading. We have a 75% chance that we're right on this position, or a 75% win rate. If we can replicate that 9:30 to 11 day after day, yes, today was a losing stat. We didn't take the trade. We did take a trade earlier, so we're down 100 for New York session. averaged out over a longer period of time, the wins stack up significantly, especially if we had taken that yesterday, the one that we took on Monday. I know I wasn't active for the edgeful stream, but the one on Monday, that was a very nice 60-point drop right to the IB low. Took that. We were done right at 11 o'clock. Same thing for Friday. The only issue on Friday is that it ended up dropping all the way to the low. This was a losing stat again. Thursday played out really well. Entry right at 50% of the IB. Took it to the low. Wednesday win. Tuesday win. Monday win. So just this week of price action, it gets a lot of people frustrated when price isn't moving, and then you do stupid things in the afternoon, or you do. And I know a lot of you guys in here have done this because it happens all over the space, regardless of how advanced you might be. You take one more trade, and be honest about this. You take one more trade, and you say, "Oh, I just need another $50, or I just need another $100." So you take 2M and Q. You have no validation to the trade. You just take it because you need another 50 to 100, and then that 50 to 100 that you needed turns into a $600 loss on the day, or it turns into you saying, "Man, I was up 300. Why didn't I just stop there?" And that's exactly what happens from this type of market. So if you find yourself getting frustrated by the movement, try to either close the screens down for the day, or if you're going to take another trade, size down on it. Or if you're not sized down on it, try to find some kind of valid data point that you can trade that's going to be a valid entry, not just, "Oh man, I need another $100. I'm going to take a long right here just because I can't keep dropping, right?" I'm going to take my eyes off this horrid chop. See you later, Slayer. I figured they would. They just did a pretty massive payout with, what's his name? Patrick Wieland. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. No, don't do that. And all the way down to previous day's low now. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the stream for me today. We're going to watch another inverse stat hit on SPY, and that's okay. But I will not be participating in any more of this price action. I think it's wise to go and step away and not burn your eyes with this kind of chop. All right, I will see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day.